The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090, the ultimate graphics card. Ultra high performance to bring the worlds you know and love in beautiful detail and being able to output demanding workloads like rendering models or videos in record time. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 is powered by the NVIDIA Ada Lovelace architecture and comes with 24 gigs of G6X memory, all of which are responsible for bringing you the 4090's coveted performance. We'll be playing Blacksmith Wukong on ultra-wide to truly put the RTX 4090 to the test with full ray tracing, DLSS, and RTX on with the game cinematic settings. A little side note that DLSS 3 and frame generation can only run on the RTX 40 series GPUs, which is why they are best in class. We will of course be playing Wukong with all the settings turned off as well, so you can get a good idea of how this beast of a GPU performs. Lastly, we will be using NVIDIA GeForce Experience to measure the performance of the GPU, FPS, and so on. Before we get started, our current PC has of course the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4090 for a GPU, and Intel 13th Gen i9 3900K for its CPU, and 32 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM. Without further ado, let's kick some mythical butt with full ray tracing, DLSS, and RTX on. So we're in Blacksmith Wukong right now. Let's just check our settings real quick before we start everything. Everything should be turned on. Graphics, we set the DLSS. Frame generation is turned on. Full ray tracing level very high, and our graphics settings set the cinematic for everything. So really cool stuff. We will of course be playing with the controller. So yeah, quick reminder, we are not playing in 4K, we are playing in ultra wide QHD or 1440p ultra wide or 3440 by 1440. So this was examples of full resolution, multi-bounce, ray trace, indirect lighting, and as you can see, it makes the lighting here look very, very natural. And look at that. It's beautiful. You can see there's a little bit of ambient occlusion on the sides over there, and how nicely the light bounces in towards the right direction. We'll just keep playing to show you more examples of this. So I think with the 4090, we're going to be talking about full resolution ray tracing, reflections, particles in reflections, caustics and shadows for ray tracing. So this over here, this indirect lighting, you can see how nicely those rays of light bounce off this ball tree over here, and also especially on our character's garb, and it looks beautiful, looks natural. And of course, we need to talk about DLSS 3, which is frame generation with AI, and you're seeing that FPS counter going amazing right now. I don't think we'll get that high of an FPS rate when we turn everything off later on, but with DLSS 3, we're kind of aiming for like 98.9 to about 100 plus, and we have surpassed that right now. So let's just keep this up. So we're in this body of water right now because I need to show you what ray tracing does at full resolution for reflections, and that includes bounce detail, and they're rendered at full resolution, giving more detail to the world around you for more immersion and all that good stuff. Because this body of water here is reflecting the surface of the surrounding area, and if you look at that bit over there, we should zoom in right here. As you can see how that body of water is reflecting everything around it. And a good example of that is like this tree trunk over here. You can kind of see it being reflected by the water that's directly in front of it. So that's what ray tracing does. It makes everything look that much more natural. With the amount of light it has, of course, in relevance to the light that's bouncing off that tree trunk, it's being reflected onto the water over there. So we see that right now, that's what you're going to get with RTX on. So there'll be a comparison bit later on with this thing. I'll put it side by side later on to show you how much of a difference this 4090 makes. So you can see how the light is bouncing off and how the areas that need to be lit up are lit up by the faint glow of that sprite over there. So let's talk about caustics real quick in terms of ray tracing. Generally in this area right here with RTX turned off, it would just be murky, you won't be able to see what's happening underneath the water. And what happens here is that in areas where there is just the right amount of light bouncing off, it will cause this area to be brighter than the average area around it. And you can see it here with the ripples in the water on nearby surfaces over here. So that's all rendered in great detail with ray tracing, and again, everything looks very natural, especially with the way the water moves and how it ripples around. Alright, so we're going to be casting the immobilize spell on the frog over here to see particle effects real quick. And as you can see, everything is reflecting off just nicely and with a lot of detail as well. Alright, let's look at that. As you can see, the effects are reflecting off the surface of the water over here, and in quite a bit of detail as well. Alright, so let's talk about particle effects real quick and how ray tracing helps out with that. So Blacksmith Wukong uses two-level ray tracing that renders particles very efficiently. And the thing about particles is that usually they're is a lot of particles, especially in this game. So you will see the particle reflections from the immobilized spell in the water. I see the game in the water over here. Come on, man. Right now. Oh, you know. Right, so as you can see, particles effects, you know, they come large and small, and the thing is, the way ray tracing helps out with that is that it makes it look, you know, as smooth and as visually appealing and stunning as possible. Woo! And because, you know, there are large groups of particles and some of them are bigger and smaller than others, you know, it usually cause a lot of trouble for traditional ray tracing systems, but not for not for the ray tracing system on this bad boy, the 4090, I mean. Because whether in combat or whether, you know, you just kind of prance it around and stuff, this thing will look cool and it'll look great as heck. Look at that. That is beautiful. Look at the shadows over here. That thing looks beautiful. I'm not sure what those plants are called, but all I know is that you can see how much detail there is in the shadows over here. So that's another effect of, you know, ray tracing with the 4090. There's more consistency in the level of detail when it comes to shadows that are overhit with RTX on. And as you can see, the little sprinkly parts of the leaves over there, everything is being cast down over there. So, you know, things are a bit softer, they're not super sharp. And especially, you know, with distant objects, and those are considered distant objects, of course. And especially since they're overhit, with the indirect light coming in, everything works nicely to show how detailed this game can be when it comes to the lighting, and it just makes things even more immersive. So this is the best example for full resolution, multi-bounce, ray trace, indirect lighting. Over here you can see the clear divide between the darkness of the cave with the light that's coming in from the top over there through a crevice. I keep saying immersive because, you know, with RTX turned on, ray tracing turned on, all that good stuff. And this is the closest you can get to being in the same world that Black Myth Wukong is set in from the comfort of your home. And just look at that, that looks amazing, especially, you know, with the flame going on that side, the torch over there, and after the lighting on that side, everything is just nicely lit up. And that's the thing a lot of people want. Let's get this guy over the water and see how particle effects act with this dude. Alright, and as you can see, the particles are reflecting quite nicely on the surface of the water. Come on. Okay. On that frustrating note, let's move on to RTX turned off. Now that we're past that, I think you and I can tell that the 4090 pulls zero punches in terms of its performance. Let's try the game with everything turned off. Let's check our settings real quick. So we're going to be turning everything off. This thing goes to XeSS, full ray tracing is turned off, graphics, everything except the cinematic, of course. But, you know, we're just not going to get the pizzazz of everything that's turned on over here. So let's just confirm that, apply graphics, and we'll restart the game. The way light works and everything, it's not exactly as impressive as it was just now with everything turned on. It still looks good. It's not a bad looking game, of course, but, you know, it's just, it lacks the kind of softness but also detailedness that comes when RTX is turned on and everything. And of course, you're looking at FPS right now, we're not hitting the same numbers we did early on. With that 90-ish, we should be hitting 90.9, but that's with the DLSS 3 turned on. So, as you can see, you know, it's still a good looking game. It's not bad, but it could be better with RTX turned on. So we're back to where we were at early on with this little trunk over here, and if you know, let's just go back a bit, and as you can see, you know, like that reflection really isn't showing up as much as it used to, and it's not exactly that sharp anymore. As you can see, there's a very clear graphical difference when RTX is turned on and RTX is turned off. And let's just get closer to see the bit over here with the reflections. And you know, things are still here, yes, but they're not as clear as they were just now. As you can see, the light isn't exactly focused where it needs to be. It's just kind of all over the place. It's like in that depth, that softness and detail that comes when RTX is turned on. So I was going to leave it here and I'm going to put things side by side so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So even then, also right now, with all the particle effects and everything going on from the immobilized spell, you can see that, like, you know, we kind of dropped FPS a little bit. We were like 90s just now, if I'm not wrong, but like maybe just because it's a cutscene, I'm not too sure. Alright, let's see. You know, as you can see, you know, they can't really get the many reflections of the water over here. I mean, there are still reflections, yes. You can see at the corner over there, but outside of that, they're not exactly as detailed as they were. Let's get him. But let's see its light, how the light bounced off his shoulders. Not exactly like it just now. Yeah, you know, yeah. It looked way better just now. Let's get him over here. Come on, big guy. Yeah, it's that light, that little bit of indirect light over there. As in, it still goes over his shoulders nicely, but like, you know, it's just not as detailed as it was just now. You know, when you got the kind of volume, the detail, the kind of shadow, the softness, and how much it hits. Can't really get at that right now. It's a good looking game nonetheless, but let's see our little prickly friends over here. And as you can see, when it comes to the shadows from the prickly leaves above, just now right now, there is a huge difference you can see in the detail when it comes to shadows. They look like regular leaves, and this level of lighting doesn't do the main objects any kind of justice, or the kind of justice that the RTX 4090 or, you know, RTX On can provide. So yeah, it's quite clear cut. So we're back at the best example for full resolution multi-balance ray trace indirect lighting, and as you can see here, it doesn't hit as it did just now. It still looks good nonetheless, yes, but the thing is, like, when you look at the lighting on the floor compared to earlier on, there is a huge difference in everything, because, you know, it's a bit too sharp for my eyes at least. I don't know, what do you guys think, because I definitely prefer the one with RTX On. Let's see if we can get the particles from the flames reflecting off the puddles on the floor. Oh damn it, I'm dead now. With that done, I think it's safe to say which of the two runs I prefer. Without a doubt, NVIDIA puts their money where their mouth is. This is truly their piece de la resistance, the GeForce RTX 4090 that blazes past the competition and lets gamers truly be immersed in their worlds the way the devs intended, and we've definitely seen that with Black Myth Wukong. Cinematic mode puts many current GPUs to the test and may even burn them out with how graphically intense Black Myth Wukong can get with its beautiful biomes, intense attack animations, and detailed characters. The RTX 4090 can handle it all. On top of that, full ray tracing requires more GPU power than the cinematic setting, and the 4090 can handle both that, DLSS and RTX turned on without breaking a sweat. I'd go with the 4090 any day. However, would you? Let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions, let me know there as well. It has been a wonderful ride playing Black Myth Wukong with the 4090, and I can't wait to play so many other games with the same level of immersion, detail, and performance real soon. I'll catch you guys in the next video.